Hello, Rubies. Welcome back to another episode on the Ruby Horror Mindset. And I'm so excited to get into today's episode because I think this is one for the books. And as we are entering into the last quarter of the year, I want all of the Rubies to understand that this is like crunch time. And the most plot twists happen at the end of the year. Like this year, really the end of the year is the time where you get to decide exactly how the beginning of your next year is going to begin. Okay? So one of the things I want to get into, this is basically almost like the Get Rid of Him series if he's not good for you, because in last week's episode, we would have actually spoke about how entertaining men is literally wasting your time. So one of the things that I want the Rubies to free themselves from is situationships. Situationships don't have to feel bad. I know a lot of times persons will tell you when they left a situationship, it was because they started to feel very negative feelings from it. But as a Ruby, one of the things that you should never do is count yourself last, because that's what you're doing because you're not number one. And the reason that I want you to know something, situationships are an assignment from the enemy. Situationships are demonic. And no matter how the new generation, no matter how society tries to make you feel as if that situationships are normal, it's not. Situationships are birthed and created in chaos and dysfunction. It is there to take away from you. It is there to drain you. And if you decide to continue with your situationship, then good luck trying to find a husband. And you will never find that husband, that Boaz who is for you if you don't leave certain situationships alone. And I mean it. That's a situationship with the man that has a wife. That is the situationship with the man that has a girlfriend. That is the situationship where this man has multiple women and is just dragging you along. So I'm going to give you reasons why. And you know this channel is for the Rubies that are looking at real life situations and trying to figure out how to live better according to the word. Okay, so let's get into it. Number one, the reasons that situationships can feel demonic or actually is demonic is because they breed confusion and not clarity. So one of the things that I will always tell a woman when she is trying to figure out where she stands in a relationship is that, does this relationship of mine brings me clarity or does this bring confusion? If the relationship itself brings confusion, it is a relationship that is not sent from God. It is an assignment from the enemy. And sometimes the vibes and everything in the aura can be right. You can meet a man that has so much charisma, but that man cannot bring clarity or alignment. And what the enemy would do with women is that he blurs those good times and those good feelings for you to literally lose focus or lose sight of the common goal in mind. Once a man into your life, he's supposed to bring clarity and alignment. Clarity and alignment is supposed to be the number one thing that he brings you. So if there's any dynamic in that particular situationship that is not clear, it is an assignment from the enemy. Because the Bible tells us in 1 Corinthians 14 and 33 that God is not an author of confusion. It's just that simple. So if you're wondering where you stand with a man, that means he's not providing you enough clarity. If you are wondering if this man is going to leave his girlfriend or his wife, it doesn't bring clarity. If you are wondering where you stand with somebody, it doesn't bring clarity. If you're wondering if this man is going to commit to you in due time or in due season, it doesn't bring clarity. So it is an assignment from the enemy. It's just that simple. Is that any time in your relationship that you feel uncertain, and the uncertainty has come up in more than one way, maybe it's time to take a step back and ask yourself, does this situationship align with my overall goal in life? And one of the things that I do when I meet men, right, I ask myself, does this person align with the future goal? Does this person bring clarity in this moment? I'm starting to realize that women love to be optimists, but we're not being realists. You have to look at what is presented to you in that moment. And if in that moment there is uncertainty, I can guarantee you your future will be uncertainty. Okay? In situationships, boundaries are definitely blurred. You're something, but not officially in covenant. You already done made a covenant with the man if you decided to continue with him in confusion. The instability will start to leave you anxious and spiritually drained. When we are connected to men that we have no business fooling with, they blur lines. They make things very hazy. And at any time when I start to feel clustered dealing with a man, I know this is somebody that's not been sent by God. So it's something for you to take into consideration as a Ruby. Number two, the reason that situationships are demonic and they are there to become spiritually and emotionally and physically draining is because they mimic commitment without accountability. Okay? So you get the emotional and you get the physical closeness of the relationship without the covering, the protection, and the intention of marriage. If a man ain't covering you, he has no intentions of covering you. He has no intentions of protecting you. He has no intentions of providing financial stability and providing emotional and spiritual affirming those things about you and what he comes to bring to your life, then that's a man that's not for you. It's a situationship. The counterfeit version distracts you from God's real design for love and commitment. Anytime the enemy knows that you are about to attach yourself or about to enter into something that God has destined for you, he will send you a distraction. He sends you that man to distract you. And most of the time, your counterfeit version gives you the feeling that you truly want. Like, you feel the butterflies, you feel the excitement, you feel the thrill. But then when you look at the reality of the situation, you realize that this is something that cannot work out. This is something that cannot work in my favor. This is something that's going to cause a lot of confusion. If you have to hide the relationship that's already done, rooted in deceit. So therefore, you have to really ask yourself, are the things that I'm currently dealing with in my relationship right now, are those things that actually is going to help me be the higher version of myself? So this is how you have to start doing these things. And this is a season that you have to start cutting things and people off, because they will drag you along. And some men will get offended when you decide to put boundaries in place. And then there were some that will like the thrill and they will continue to pursue you. But you have to be very steadfast on the reality of what it is that you need to deal with. When you're laying down boundaries, you don't feel good in those moments. But I guarantee you, the peace of mind that you have afterwards surpasses all understanding. Okay? Number 3, the reason that situationships are demonic, it is because they delay your destiny. If I can tell you the amount of times that I was connected to relationships with men that delayed things that I was supposed to do, delayed focus, delayed content making, delayed writing of books, delayed sorting out finances, delayed promotions, delayed advancement, I can literally be a millionaire by now. And there's many of times that I speak about these things, and there are many a times that I've seen things like this happen to other women. And the time you could be investing in God's purpose for your life, or healing, or having a healthy covenant relationship, is wasted in limbo with a situationship. The situationships are put there to waste your time. Anytime you have an indicator in your life of time wasting, it is demonic. Because God is a man. God is a being that, let me tell you something here, time is of the essence. Time is so pressing to God. That's why he urges us, and he said, now is the time for salvation. Today is the day for salvation, not tomorrow, today. So therefore, if you read the word of God and he speaks with this urgency, you have to ask yourself, is this man something in this day and time that can bring me some sense of urgency for the life goals that I have? So anytime a situationship presents itself, it is there to delay your destiny. So you are holding space for somebody who's not even sure that they want to stay. Waste of time. Waste of time leaves you confused. Waste of time leaving you confused. Okay? Number 4, the reason that situationships are demonic is because they normalize sin and compromise. Many situationships involve sexual intimacy without marriage. That is the bottom line. It involves breaking covenants. It involves getting attached to people that you have no business to be attached with in the first place. And it is okay in this moment if you have succumbed to temptation, but what I'm going to tell you is fight for your life and flee. Because the Bible tells us one of the things we should do is flee from sexual immorality. And if you meet a man that has wife intentions for you, and this is something that I would always tell women, you will always know when a man truly loves you. He starts to treat you like a wife before he makes you his wife. So therefore, there are certain things he will not force you to do. There are certain things that he would understand how you move in. And if y'all are aligned and y'all are in agreement, you will notice that there's just certain conversations that don't have to be spoken, but there's an understanding. Situationships usually involve sexual intimacy without marriage, and when you start to engage in those sexual relations with those men, you drain your creative energy. And I'm going to do an episode on how to use your sexual energy to create. The reason that sexual energy is a form of creation is because when you have sex with somebody, the intent is to procreate, right? And when you have sex, you create a child. That is something that is creation. So sex is something that is so powerful. But in this day and time and in the world, we have literally simplified, or we have literally dumbed down how powerful sex and intimacy is. And as you start to really find yourself and you start to search for yourself and you start to really understand that certain things in this life cannot continue, you will understand that sex is a powerful thing. And that's why women that are not having sex, they achieve the most. When they are not having sex or the covenant, they achieve the most. Because sex is an energy. Men know that. That's why literally, men know that one of the things that men will always want you for is for sex. Not the only thing, but that's what they want. And men, they give you more when you don't sleep with them because they want the thrill of getting you. So if it's that powerful to men, if that energy, men go to wars, they literally unalive when they don't know how to properly deal with that intensity or energy. They unalive the women that they claim to love because sex is powerful. And sometimes as women, we have to take the time to be by ourselves to know how to use sexual energy to become financially stable, to create businesses. That's why women make so great entrepreneurs. It's because they're using that energy into something else until God knows how to direct it into the right man. Okay? So which scripture calls fornication, right? So situationship births fornication. And that's in 1 Thessalonians 4, 3, and 5. The enemy thrives literally when you accept almost love instead of God's standard. The enemy is a man of almost. Or it's almost there. I feel it a little bit. It's not the full thing. And listen to me. In order to be a lion, you have to lose your appetite for rats. So in order for you to want the standard love and to leave situationships, you're going to have to lose your appetite for the situationship. If you want marriage covenant, you have to lose the appetite for the situationship covenant. And this is something that comes with a maturity. This is a mature talk for the rubies. These are for the rubies that are sick and tired of being sick and tired. These are the rubies that want to do the Esther fast. These are the rubies that are going under preparation for 1 year. These are the rubies then that are doing the year of the bride fast. These are for the rubies that are really serious about love. And I want you to know something. When a man is truly aligned with you and he understands that covenant that you want to keep with God until marriage, he will make sure that he does not do things to cause you to step over the line. Okay? Number 5, the reason the situationships are demonic is because they attack your self-worth. There are many times that we sleep with men and by the time we done lose the 5 minutes, even if it's that long, you start to feel some type of way about yourself. You feel dirty. You feel like, why did I do that? I am better than that. So the enemy wants to attack your self-worth. So if I can attack your self-worth, then I get you to question who God has you to be. And if I can get you to question who God has you to be, that means your actions will surely follow. Okay? You start to question your value. Then you start to wonder why they ain't committing to you. You can't commit to something that was not based on the foundation of commitment. Situationships are not based on the foundation of commitment, yet you are asking yourself why you won't commit. That's insanity. It's insanity. The constant rejection in disguise erodes your confidence and your identity or what God called you to be as a woman. So the more you start to settle, because what's going to start happening, and this is for women that love being comas. Comas is an Italian term, right, for a side chick. These are the women that are okay being side chicks. You eventually start to question why this man won't make you number one. You start to get very delusional and you start to get obsessive over the woman that he claims and will make sure that at no point in time in that relationship that woman finds out about you. This is the real talk conversations that a lot of women do not want to have. And a lot of times inside of Black culture and even being in the Caribbean culture, they normalize this thing called sweethearts. At least he comes home. Those women, they don't know how to pray, because I can tell you something. If a sweetheart think that she coming to take my husband when the Lord says it's that time, she got another thing coming, because God didn't honor my covenant, not yours. And this is where it comes down to religious knowledge. This is where it comes down to knowledge of the word. The problem is that a lot of women, when their husband starts to step out on them, they don't carry it before God. They don't carry it before God, asking God, is this the man you want me to stay with? Because sometimes we marry in error. Is this the man you want me to stay with? Or is this the man you want me to leave? But we don't go before God. But I can tell you something. If I see a Jezebel in sight, if I smell a Jezebel in sight, or if there's any actions of a Jezebel in sight, I get my husband before God. I will tell God to bring judgment on the wife and the husband. I will tell God, bring judgment, my apologies on my husband and the side chick. Because at this time, God, he better come home. And if it's not in your will for him to come home, you better deal with him. And you let me break free. But a lot of women don't understand covenant when it comes to marriage. So that's why people normalize sweethearting. They call it sweetheart, goma, side chick, side piece, whatever you want to call it. We normalize those things. But if you keep dealing with a situationship, you will start to question why this man don't want to make me number one. It will eventually get to that point. Okay? Number 6. When you decide to engage in situationships which are demonic, they open spiritual doors that you did not plan to open. I can assure you, I have been a woman that has dealt with some doors that took continuous fasting and praying to close. I can tell you that I have been there and I have done that. And the doors that attack, let me tell you something, the enemy just need an open door for sin. Whether that's through unforgiveness, that's why every day there are people that I know I still working on forgiving. So I have to ask God every day to please help me forgive the people because I can't do it on my own. And eventually, I know one day I'll forget about it, right? But there are doors that situationships open that you had no intention of it opening. And those doors attack your finances. They attack your mind, they attack your beauty, they attack your destiny, they attack the business. That's why when women leave warlocks, they thrive. Soul ties, emotional bondage, and unnecessary heartbreak come from binding yourself to someone without God's covenant protection. When you get married, the covenant that God puts in place is to protect you and him. Okay? When God is involved, there's a protection there. When you decide to do things that is not legal, there's no protection. That's why women crash out. We break up cars, we break windows, we bust out windows, we fight, we go and fight and feel as if that this is going to make us better because we went into a situation with no protection. And sometimes we only be focused on sexually transmitted diseases, but we ain't focus on sexually diseases. Those are the diseases that break your heart and weaken your heart muscles and have you can't sleep, can't think, can't drink, can't do your routine. Because you entered into a covenant with somebody that you had no business being with. Proverbs 4:23 wants us to guard our heart, and a situationship is the number one way for you to leave your heart exposed. These are the reasons that situationships are demonic. I do not condone it. And even when I was not as knowledgeable as I am now about spiritual doors and covenants and warlocks and energy draining and sexual energy and why we shouldn't do what we should do, what we are already doing. Before I had noticed, I was never somebody that was fond of situationships. I was never somebody that was fond of being somebody that had more than one partner. And even if I wanted to try it, I would just feel convicted because it's not in me. Now, I can guarantee you something. Had I continue still playing with fire, then I would then start to lose that conviction and become numb to the sin, because that's what Satan wants you to do. Satan wants you to become familiar with sin, because when you become familiar with it, then it becomes a norm. But I want for every woman that is looking to be freed, for every woman that you really looking for a standard of life that is beyond what people can imagine and even yourself. If you want God to really give you a serious life, start closing doors that are delaying the things that God has in your life. You got to start closing doors. This is the season you got to start closing doors. This is the season where you have to stop overindulging in things that don't make any sense. If this man leaves you confused, if that man leaves you exposed spiritually, if that man leaves you in chaos, if that man leaves you in emotional turmoil and heartbreak, maybe it is time to take a step back and realign. Thank you, Rubies, for coming to another episode on the Ruby Aura Mindset channel. And I will see you, Rubies, next time. Bye.